I've been walking beneath streetlights. I've been walking, cause I can't find peace on these nights. I've been walking, but my strides are getting slower. Still I'm walking, but I don't know where I'm going. I've been looking for love, but only found deception. Told my secrets to some people who have not kept them.
Y'all ready for this? Yeah. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 and the kidney one. Not my girl, and say, this is. Oh, brother. Nurse. I'm so upset I'm parched. Nurse, somebody, nurse. My name is Penelope, all right? Consqualo Penelope. And you gave me the wrong medication, apparently. My birthday is November 15th, 1960. I am no longer on dialysis, right? I see you gave me something for diabetes. I'm not diabetic. The little machine that go with it, I'm not diabetic, nurse. You gave me a couple of pills here. I don't need none of this stuff. You must have didn't read the thing right. I told you when my birthday was. I told you what my name was. Maybe it sounded like, but are you trying to kill me or what? I don't want to have to get any advocates on the phone. I don't have to put my with my glasses. I don't want to have to call nobody. I don't want to have to dial nobody up or anything. You know what I mean? Where the advocates at? You know what I mean? Where's the patient's rights or something for somebody to get medication wrong? You could have killed me. Now I ain't dead yet, but you still could have killed me. Listen, Nurse Ratchet. Yeah, Nurse Ratchet, I said. You were wrong. Now, where that lady at? Let me call her up. You know what I mean? I just want to give her or that other dude or whatever, that urban health spot or place, you know. I almost took my earrings off like, you know, like I was ghetto or something. But, you know, no, I'm past all of that now. But I don't like what you did, you know. But I'm going to call her because this is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in a kidney world. Hey guys, how you doing? Happy Sunday to you. That's what I said. Happy Sunday. I hope all is well. I hope things are going better for you. We didn't get to do any arts and crafts, but I wanted to give you an idea of the tissue boxes that you may have or that you may save. See the tissue boxes? Yeah. You get the tissue boxes and you can get any kind of noodle that you want that you would decorate the boxes with all the way around, all the way in. You can put stuff in, you can put more tissue in, you can put something else in, you can just have it decorated. You can also spray paint it once the noodles are on, or you can actually hand paint it. It's therapeutic, it's fun, it's nice. Nice to do with the children, nice to do with the seniors, just nice to do with the whole family. Arts and crafts is a good thing. They're therapeutic, all right? So I hope you like that little tidbit. I hope you can use it because some people are still stuck in the house with the pandemic. So you don't know what you might need, you know, somebody to talk to, somebody to, you know, something, all right? Something to do, something with the family, bring y'all closer together. Maybe y'all fell apart, whatever. But I hope that helped. Anywho, I got a wonderful couple for you tonight. And you know I haven't had that many couples on the show. I've had some, all right? You know, so I had the Johnsons, the Lowrys, I had the Baxters, my husband and myself. Now I got another one, right? I got the McCleans. But let me tell you a little something about them before we do that intro, all right? I got Ericka and Terrence McClean. Both of them are first grade school teachers. Now, Terrence, he's been a tech, a dialysis tech, a former dialysis tech, and he is a transplant dialysis warrior. All right. So his wife's been a caregiver to him. He's been a wife to him. So look at all the hats they're wearing together. I'm just loving it, loving it, loving it, and loving it some more. So that's the couple that we're going to talk to today. They're going to share and tell their story. So hang on, because we're going to take you for a ride. The McClean. Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi, guys. I'm so glad to have you. Oh, boy, I am more than ready to interview you guys. Now, we're going to start with your job. Both of you right now have done the same job, first grade school teachers. How did that come about? Y'all could take turns answering, okay?
I'll let the boss talk first.
I'm mad at you. Go on now.
I studied. I went to school for early childhood education. I actually started out as a daycare Head Start teacher, and then I moved into the charter sector. So I stayed in early childhood, and I like the little ones, so I stick with first grade. The babies are like the best.
Wow. I love them too. I ain't mad at you. Way I work, I'm a social worker with children that size and that yet young. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing. You know, and kids need that, especially when you're a nurturer. You know?
Exactly.
And they need it all, from the men and the women. You know what I mean? So, Terrence, what brought you into that field?
Well, as you said, when you first interviewed me, I was a dialysis technician for 15 years. We had this conversation when I first got the kidney. We had our first interview with Steve. But I was a technician for 15 years, and in 2011 I got really sick. So I was unable to work. So for a few years, it was just like I was so down. My doctor would not allow me to go back to work. So about, I want to say 2015, 2014, I was allowed to actually start going back to work on a part-time basis. So the boss here, suggested, why don't you just try to get into like an after-school program or something? Because you love kids. Everything you do is with kids. I did a lot of volunteer work working with kids. So I had a friend that worked for a company called SEO. And I said, you know what, let me give it a shot. So I went to SEO and I worked after school with them for a year. And of course, the boss again said, well, why don't you just try and, move on and actually work inside of school? When I was doing after school, I was working 4th and 5th grade. So I ended up going to a charter school in Queens. And again, I was on the 4th and 5th grade level. So I loved it. But then I got switched over to behavioral specialist. And I was working with the entire school from kindergarten to 8th. And that was just amazing. But as my health started to deteriorate, we live in Howard Beach, and I was working in Jamaica, and she was working in Far Rockaway, and they was opening a school closer to my home, about 4 blocks away. So I actually ended up going there and applying, and I didn't know what grade I was going to teach. And I actually started off in kindergarten, and in the middle of last year, they moved me to 1st grade, and I fell in love. And it's funny because me and the wife, we could just throw ideas off of each other, and due to the fact that she's been doing the education thing a whole lot longer than I have, I always ask her, her opinion on certain things. So it's amazing. Not only her, my mother, my aunts, her mother, all educators. So it's like we have a cluster of people that we can actually go to, and it's just, hey, Lavina. It's just we have a cluster of people that we could just actually, talk to and just that help me more so than her, because she's a pro at this and I'm still learning day by day.
Well, you sound passionate. I mean, you don't sound like you're stuck in anything. You got people, advisors on the side of you. It's running in the family type of thing. You know what I mean? It's nice when a couple has something in common. My husband and I both worked in human services, so we used to run that off of each other too. I ain't mad at you. So that's a good thing. You know what I mean? So how long, Ericka, you've been doing that particular job, and Terrence, how long you have been doing that?
I want to say about 10 years, but I've been in Far Rockaway for about 4.5 years, almost 5 years.
And
Okay.
like I said, I've got in about 2014, 2015. So 6 years, give or take.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Wow. All right. Well, y'all running with the, people say with the big dogs, y'all running with the babies now, the small ones, the small folk, you know what I mean? And they're very precious.
Like they always say, you never know what a child's going to say. And anytime you actually talk to a kid, the things that they just say, sometimes it's so humorous, and then sometimes it takes you back like, wait, where did you learn that from?
I know that's right. One of them used to say, Lisa, call my mother. I said, what? He says, you're my social worker. I'm like, he's 3 years old. What do you know about social work? But I do home visits. I do stuff in the house as well, so they get to really know you. You know what I'm saying? But I couldn't believe he said that, and he's 3 years old. You know what I mean? So, they will say the crazy thing. Yeah. They even knew what the fistula was. Once I told them the one time, they never forgot it. You know what I mean? They even told the parents. The parents said, what is he saying? You know what I mean? I said, no, he's talking right. That's a fistula. That's what's in my arm, so they wouldn't be afraid of it. So I just love those little people all together. Now, you touched on your journey with kidney disease. I mean, with being on dialysis. Tell us, how did you get on dialysis? And then we're going to slide into your transplant. Then I'm going to slip over to your wife. Hit it.
Well, I was living in Arizona a number of years ago, and I was training to become a professional bodybuilder, as well as working in dialysis. And I was a health nut. Everything I ate was all about clean living, clean eating and drinking. I didn't drink no alcohol. I didn't smoke. It was all about, going to the gym, going to work, getting as much rest as possible. And one day, me being young and stupid, I was actually in the gym being stupid, and I ended up catching a hernia. So I ended up going to the doctor to have the MRI, the CAT scan, and stuff like that. And the doctor called me to give me the results. And as part of the results, I was told I had polycystic kidney disease. So I was sent to a nephrologist out in Arizona, in Phoenix. And at the time, I was such a young stud. Doctor was like, well, you don't have nothing to worry about till you're 65. I'm like, okay, 65. And at that time, my health started to deteriorate. I started getting a lot of headaches, a lot of lower back pain. So the family was like, you know what? Come on back to New York. Be around people that will be able to hold you down, and you can continue to work. So I actually did that. In 2014, I ended up going on dialysis. So we say 6-7 years later, I ended up on dialysis. A far to 65, because I just turned 43 in June. So
happy birthday.
Appreciate that. So when I ended up on dialysis, it was like at one point, it was a struggle, and I sit here and I thank my wife, I thank my family, because I'm sure my family is watching. And it was a big fight, for like 2 years before I ended up on dialysis. I made it abundantly clear I did not want to get on dialysis. I didn't want to have a transplant. I just wanted to just go ahead and slide into that, to my peaceful transition. And the boss there, you always call her the boss. She kept hitting me in the gut. Oh, you can't do this. And then she'll throw the kids in, and it was always the kids. And what about me? How I feel. We have a relationship, we're getting ready to get married. How can you say that you want to die? And we're trying to grow this empire. And of course, with her and, my aunt, my moms, my sisters, everybody just in my ear constantly was like, you know what? I'll just go ahead and get on dialysis. So I started off as peritoneal. Again, the boss, she used to come around, when I'm doing the peritoneal, and she always criticized everything I did. Are you doing it right? You're not looking healthy. You look great. Why do you look great? This is wrong. You're doing it wrong. Fast forward, I had a hernia around my peritoneal catheter site, and it ended up getting infected. So the doctors called, and I called the wife on the way home from the doctor, and they was like, you got to go to the hospital. of course, me being a young black hard-headed man, I went home, and I'm laying across my bed watching TV. Of course, I'm watching my ESPN, and my little sister walks into the room, and she starts yelling at me. Now, I didn't know she spoke to Ericka, and she was like, "At the hospital. Why are you not at the hospital?" I'm looking at it. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she was like, "You have to go to the hospital." So I'm like, at first I'm like, I really don't want to go. I'm fine. Eventually, I could push the kidney back, not the kidney, the hernia back in, and I'll be fine. And she's like, "Well, just go to be on the safe side." I ended up going to the hospital, and the doctor tells me and the family, luckily I came because I had an obstruction that was blocking blood to my stomach, and I would have died, within the next day or so. So I ended up having life-saving surgery. And then the family joke came out of that because they pulled out an 8-pound mass of mesh out of my belly. So not only did I have surgery, I had a baby.
Wow.
So
oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, at least you can laugh about it. It's always good when you can laugh about it. Because I know sometimes when that's happening, you don't always see or know how serious, and then sometimes you do, and you can still find some humor, but you have family support, and that means a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got it all around you. Woo, I'm loving it. I'm just loving it all together. I love the way the cat fight went on real about you going to the hospital. I love it. I mean, the wife started this, zoom, 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 to the rest of the family. The sister jumped on you. Wow. Excellent. Yes.
So I ended up going on home hemo. And of course, where me and you met, we met at St. Albans, not St. Albans. Yeah, St.
Right.
Albans. And
Woo, woo.
And of course, I ended up, she'll probably talk about this later on when she talks, but I ended up getting kicked out of St. Albans because I almost had a fight with one of the doctors. I ended up going back to one of my home bases where I actually grew up in dialysis at Rogerson Institute. And in Rogerson Institute, I considered them my family because they actually nurtured me in dialysis as a technician. So they pushed me into doing home care. So I ended up going on home hemo for about a year. And during that time, all the pressure of being on dialysis started to get to me. So I'm sure a lot of people that's watching have had that mental breakdown. And
sure.
And
Go there.
This time, about a year ago today, I actually spoke to my wife, and I told her, if I don't get a kidney soon, or a kidney, it was about April, May, and I said, as of August 2019, I'm gonna go ahead and go into hospice and just pass it along. My same sister that came in the house yelled at me, offered me her kidney. She's the same blood type I am, and we went and got tested and stuff. We got tested in, I want to say, July, August. And I was told originally that I would have the transplant at the beginning of the year, which would have been right before the end of the year. So it would have been November, December of 2019. And after a while, my phone stopped ringing from the transplant place. So at one point, I was constantly hearing from them on a regular basis. Then the call stopped. So I speak to my sister. My sister says she hasn't spoken to them, nothing, no knowledge, no nothing. So finally, my social worker from the dialysis clinic calls me and asks me what's going on with the transplant. And I'm like, well, they stopped calling me. I don't know anything. So This is the beginning of December. And at the beginning of December, literally like within a 5-minute span, I speak to my social worker, and then the transplant social worker calls and tells me she spoke to my social worker. And she goes, your sister was denied. I can't remember what the reason was, but she was denied. Now, all this time in my head, I'm thinking I'm going to have this transplant any day now.
Yes.
So at the end of November, beginning of December, I went through a very strong state of depression.
A dark space. He was in a dark space.
I got really, 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 really sick. My body started, I guess, because I gave up, like, okay, I'm going to die, because we all know, polycystic kidney disease, there's no cure. So I gave up. And like I said earlier, I was doing home hemodialysis. And in between that time and before Christmas, I fell 3 times. One time, my wife was actually in the living room, and she seen me fall, and I hit my head on the pole. I guess I don't know what I was doing. I don't remember the whole situation, but I know I hit my head on the pole. Another time, it was actually twice I fell. Another time, I woke up when I was taking myself off of dialysis, and I was actually on the floor. Everything that was, all my boxes and stuff was turned over. I don't know how I felt. I just know I woke up on the floor, so I was in a lot of pain. And, Christmas Day, we had the family over, and it was just a real painful, mentally and physical type day for me. We had the kids over, but it was just not the best situation for me. So the wife said, okay, since you fell, there was a new rule. I can't do dialysis unless she's woke, and the door has to stay open because we have 3 bedrooms. So the middle bedroom is where I usually do dialysis. So she sat out here and was actually watching TV, and I was in the room doing my treatment. So she would keep, checking in, making sure I was okay. And like the last 20 minutes of my treatment, something didn't feel right. So I rinsed myself back. My blood pressure was extremely low. And whenever anybody in the family calls and their first thing is like, okay, should we go to the hospital? My answer unequivocally is always no. And for the first time I ever said to my wife, I said, dial 911. Something's not right. After that, I ended up going to the hospital. Me and the wife, we have conversations about how I ended up at the hospital. I don't remember. As far as I was turned, she told me I went in the ambulance. I thought my aunt brought me. I just know I woke up at Franklin General. And then they transferred me to Long Island Jewish Manhasset, because I didn't go to Long. I went to another one. And it was just, my mom, my dad, and my sister, they all live in South Carolina at the time. My daughter was living in South Carolina as well. And everybody came up because from what I'm understanding, again, I don't remember the whole situation, but
pretty much a cyst ruptured when he fell. When he was taking himself off of dialysis the night before, a cyst ended up rupturing and he was bleeding internally. And they were trying to stop the bleeding before it got infected. And Franklin General didn't have the tools or the surgeons to care for him if he needed emergency surgery. So that's why we were transferred to LIJ.
So as I said,
yeah.
So the family came up, and this is when all the top secret stuff started taking place between the family. I'm in a hospital bed, not knowing anything. My little sister, not my baby sister, she actually came up and got tested. So December 28th, I went into the hospital. I guess it was the morning or the afternoon. I don't remember when I got there. So I was in the hospital for about a week. I came home that following Saturday or Sunday, and I get a phone call from the transplant team, and they're like, okay, you and your sister have to come down, for testing. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? Why am I coming down for testing? That's when now, mind you, the family already knew I was getting a transplant. I had no clue. So I ended up going to get testing. My mom, everybody is here, and we go to the transplant clinic in LIJ, North Shore. And that's when they tell me, if everything comes back, you're gonna have a transplant on February 3rd. And I'm sitting back like, hold up, wait. Everything just turned around. Like, here it is, I'm gonna die, and next thing I know is I'm getting a kidney. But it was pending my sister's results. So of course I was still in this place. Okay, my other sister, she actually did the testing and she was denied. And now I have another sister who's doing the testing. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get my hopes up high, until everything comes back and we can move forward. But once they said that, okay, we're moving forward to get you a date, for February 3rd.
Yeah.
She didn't become the boss no more. Now she became the warden.
she moved up a higher rank, huh?
Yeah. They took the car key.
I
wasn't allowed to go nowhere. I had to eat certain things. Like, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know, you can't. You can only go outside and walk to the corner and walk back. You can't be around no people. You know, even if I wanted to go to my job to visit my students, it was like, no, that's not happening.
Oh no, God knows, no. I couldn't even be around the kids when I got the transplant. I was out for about, I think, six weeks.
Well,
6 weeks.
This is before we actually. I got the transplant.
Yeah.
Here it is, the beginning of January, and I'm just sitting here. So, I did an interview with Steve, and we actually had the interview. I had the whole family come over on February 2nd. You know, even though my 49ers.
I remember that. Yeah.
We had the Super Bowl party. We had the whole family here, and it's like, you know, and I'll be honest with you, it didn't sit in with me that I was going to have the transplant until that morning. And that morning, wow, when we was actually getting ready to leave, I think we was leaving like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to head to the hospital. Yeah. Damn, like it hit me like, wait, you're getting ready to have a kidney, like, and it's been a blessing ever since, you know.
Wow.
You know, the wife, you know, she stood firm, and I can honestly say, you know, some people call me a hero, but she personally, you know, her, my kids, my wife, my mother, my aunt, they're my heroes, you know, because without them being who they are today, I wouldn't be here today. You know, so
well, they had to will you to live. They had to will you to live. You know what I mean? Family's supposed to look out for family, and I'm glad Joel stepped up to the plate and did that. God bless your sister who gave you a kidney. God bless your wife who stayed on your back, and even the whole family that chimed in. Now, you, Ericka, as a caregiver, how was it being a caregiver for him? Because I know you look like you had your hands full, but you handled your business. I ain't mad at you. Tell us a little something.
It was not easy. It was not easy. Terrence can be very difficult. And when he puts his mind to something, and if he says he wants something, that's just what it is. He's not hearing no one. He shuts down. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, especially when I had to make the decision that he could no longer do dialysis at home, because I just felt like, not that he wasn't doing it right, but I just felt like he needed to be in the care of the dialysis tech, the nurses, in case something went wrong. And not only that, we have a daughter here who is, you know what I mean, seeing her dad on a machine, and, you know, that could play a mental, you know, mentally mess her up. So it was just a lot of things that was going on where I had to really make certain decisions and let him know, like, listen, you're going to have to fall back and just let the family make decisions for you, because you don't have all the answers.
Yes.
Well,
all of this affects the family. Right. You know, people don't always notice that or see that, but being on dialysis, a health decision, and even having a transplant affects the family. So whether there's kids in the family, the mother, the grandmother, whoever's in the family, it affects the whole family.
Yep.
Well, what you had to do, what did you take away from the table from him being on dialysis, and what did you take away from the table from him having a transplant? What did you learn?
Well, I learned that he's in a different space now. Since he's had the transplant, he's in a very different space. He's happier. He's not angry. He's smiling more. He's on his grind with the exercising. He's just living a better, healthier life. Like, his mindset is different. Dialysis, Terrence was miserable on dialysis, because initially when we first found out that he had to go on dialysis, he was not trying to do it. It was just like, nope, I'm not going on dialysis. I'm ready to die. That's it.
Wow. I'm sure Terrence dealt with patients like him, because a lot of times it's one thing to talk about dialysis and transplants and stuff like that, but it's a whole nother thing to be the patient.
Right.
I mean, you can like get the person in the chair, wheel them in the chair, all of that stuff. But God knows when you're the patient, because when I was talking to my sisters, I did all I could do. But when it came my turn, it was a whole ball of chain, a whole different ball of soup, a whole bowl, you know what I mean? All different ball of chain of soup.
Yep.
So I ain't mad at you, because things affect us. You don't know it till it's in your court. You know what I mean? You could say it, till you feel it. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why
You
I've
know,
always told people, like, you never know, you could look at it, it's like, people used to always say to me, well, you look healthy, you don't look like that, like you're on dialysis. And I'm like, well, how do you expect me to look? You expect me to look, broken and attached to oxygen all the time? It was like, okay, it's something that was breaking me down eternally, but it also was affecting me mentally and physically at the same time.
Yeah, polycystic kidney disease. Well, I got 6 of my siblings on dialysis besides myself. I had 2 aunts, an uncle, and a mother-in-law. Polycystic kidney disease can, skip around, but are you ever afraid that your children or anybody else in the family would get it?
Yeah, we've talked about that. So, my oldest daughter, she's 22. She's been tested. She just had a second child, so now I got 2 grandkids. But we're waiting for her to we're gonna continue to have her tested. We'll have my younger 2 daughters also tested. But they say you can't take. Hey, my Robin's on. That's the one that actually gave me the kidney. Hey, Robin.
Bless her. Hey, Robin. The heroes in the house, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's been amazing. Like, it's. We try and make sure, like, once the younger ones turn 15, that's when they're gonna start being tested. So my middle one, she's 13, so she'll be 14 next year. So as of next year, we'll start having her tested, and the younger one is 10. So we got a few more years before she's gonna start being tested. But it's a lot of things that I didn't know then that I know now. I was very I was very selfish. I was like, my wife said I was very mean, but it wasn't that I was actually meaning to be mean. I was just very miserable, and I felt like I was forced to get on something that I didn't want to be a part of. And I look at it now, it actually turned out for the best, and what's even crazy is, me and my little sister, Robin, we actually have a way better relationship, and it's like, I call her my personal hero because, without her doing what she did, I probably wouldn't be here today, to have this conversation with you guys and, to love my the way I do, to love my kids the way I do, to love my family the way I do. But, the first person you got to honor is God, because God made a way for me to, there's a song I listened to, and he knew my worth, and he was like, he wasn't done with me. Every trial and tribulation is, he's written your story. So he knows what you can take and what you can't take. And everything that he did for me, it was amazing. And I just feel blessed, I'm blessed every day, Life is like beautiful, and like my marriage, I'll be honest with you, and with us having, I guess I would say, me being sick, it put a little strain on my marriage, and I have to always apologize to my wife for, for me being the idiot that I was being, because, it made it harder for her. Not only was she taking care of me, but she was taking care of the little ones, making sure we were straight, making sure I was taking my medicine, making sure I was eating right, making sure I was just doing dialysis. Like, it'd be a time where I'd be like, oh, I'll do dialysis tomorrow. And she'd be like, no, you'll do it today.
Well, that's a wife. That's a real woman. That's a wife. And that's a real woman. That's a real caregiver. A lot of times the caregivers don't get rest. A lot of times they take care of themselves last or never take care of themselves. I've been a caregiver 3 times, even for my own husband who had colon cancer. So my hat definitely off to her. You know what I mean? Sometimes the family will help and will jump in, and sometimes they're scared and they run the other way, or they do what little bit they can do. But I'm glad your family was there with you and for you, and that y'all had each other. That's just a big fat blessing. You know what I mean? I love it when God puts something together. Let no man put asunder, honey. Yes, So not at all. Now, if you could say something to a wife out there or a caregiver, Ericka, what would you say?
I would say, honestly, to pray about your situation, because again, it's not easy. Things will get better. Have faith and pray. Prayer works. I tell you, my mother prayed many nights for us, our marriage, for Terrence's condition. It was really tough. It was really tough.
Wow.
And also,
well, you hung in there.
And if
you hung in there,
if you can, try to take classes, get extra trainings, speak to people who have been in those situations. I've joined Facebook groups, dialysis spouse groups. I've joined every type of kidney warrior group that I possibly could have joined, just to hear the other experiences from other wives, from, even from dialysis patients. It's just, you have to do your homework.
Those things help. And there's a lot of stuff out there and people don't know about. The kidney club is every 2 months, you know what I mean? All the different things. I mean, I worked for Rogerson Institute for a good minute, you know what I mean? And you gotta just do your homework. You gotta grab all the resources to get you through this. Mm-hmm. Terrence, if you could say something to a dialysis patient that might have been going through that type of depression, what would you say?
Never give up. God is good. Whatever God you believe in, you pray to whoever you believe in, and just stay focused. Stay the course. And one thing I've always said is, not all the doctors know what's best for you. You know what feels comfortable for you and what doesn't feel comfortable for you. As long as you take care of your body to the best of your ability, and when I say the best of your ability, I mean you're doing everything that you possibly can. I recently became a vegan, so if it was something that I knew then, that I knew now, that I knew then, I would have started being a vegan many years ago, because I think that with me being a vegan, it's cleared my mind. It's allowed me to be, especially now with a new kidney, it's allowed me to be more healthy. I think differently. My mind is always clear. My energy level is amazing. So just anybody, if you're on dialysis, you're getting ready to get on dialysis, you're thinking about a transplant, this is not an overnight procedure. You're not gonna walk in the door today and have a kidney tomorrow. It might take some years. You got to get out there and you got to let people know, this is what I need. Come help me. You can't keep your mouth closed. Closed mouth doesn't get fed. So just you reach out to everybody. Your family should always be your biggest supporters. But if your family is not your supporter, make sure you have some friends or people that care about you. That's gonna be your crutch, because as a dialysis patient, you're gonna have them days, them nights where you're gonna actually just give up, and giving up is not an option, especially if you have people that truly love and care for you. I might be, extra blessed because I have a beautiful wife, a beautiful kids, beautiful family on the whole that want me around. So reach out to those, and if you don't have people that you actually feel care about you, like my wife said, find these dialysis groups, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be in your local hospital, reach out. There's always somebody out there that you can talk to. Talk to your social worker at your dialysis clinic, and 9 times out of 10, they'll have information for you to actually have somebody to talk to, whether it be actually in person or via telehealth. But mental health is something that's really, especially in the Black community, we kind of look at it like it's taboo. But when you're on dialysis, you need to have somebody to talk to. And as when I first let my doctors and stuff know that I was going to transition into going to hospice, they actually had me start talking to somebody, and that actually helped. And I didn't realize how bad I was, like how depressed I was. The wife would sit back and say, you're in a dark space, and I'm like, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. But in all actuality, I really was. And it takes me now opening up, realizing how bad I was mentally, from my physical deprivations. So I'm good now.
Yeah, dialysis, and that can take you someplace you really don't want to go. And you can go into a hole in a dark place, especially when you're losing friends and loved ones all around you. You're going through so much, So who would you like to give a shout out to? And is there anything that we missed before I end the show? Because my family's moving around now, so I don't know what you might see, but it's a reality show, and it's about reality. What I'm going to. Ando, Go ahead, sweetie. Huh?
You want to give a shout out to?
First, I want to shout out my sister Robin again. Even though she hates that I do it, but thank you for giving me the kidney. I love you with all my heart. Again, you're my hero. You saved my life. Yeah. Robin, I love you. Kiss my baby girl for me. Tell her Maya I love her because she was there. She cried with both of us. I want to thank my mom, my aunt, my cousins, my brothers, my sisters, my kids, and definitely, I can't shut it out without thanking my wife, and letting her know how much I love and I appreciate her. Because, not only my wife, she's my best friend. She's that true crutch. She's my wheelchair. She's so much, to me. And never will I ever, be able to show her mentally, physically, financially how much I appreciate her, because the love I have for this woman is unconditional. It's just a nurtured love that I have for her. And when she could have bailed, she didn't bail. She stood there, she fought there. She fought with me. She would beat me up, domestic violence, and kick me down, you're not doing it. Down.
Oh my God.
Machine. No, I'm just playing, but I mean, I want to think, I have a host of friends, that rolled out for me, that been there, the Cook family, y'all was at the hospital, the minute you guys heard I was in a bad place, y'all was at the hospital. And I will, Thomas, Ty, I will always love y'all. I could never stop appreciating you. Lavina, you my little sister, big sister, whatever. Love you, Everybody else, y'all know who y'all are. I don't have to, keep this long, family, friends. It's always going to be here. Like I always say, love is love.
All right. All right. What about you, Ericka?
I can't forget one person.
Who?
My mother-in-law. When I was in the hospital, my mother-in-law, I kept telling her to go home. She was sleeping at the sink on the side of my bed. And it was crazy. My mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, they was there.
Wow.
My nephews, it affected everybody. So I can't forget my mother-in-law because she would not leave. Right. I was like, go home. Get to sleep. Tell my wife, go home. And they're like, no, we need to make sure you're okay because you're not in the good state.
Well, it's good to have a good mother-in-law. I had a good mother-in-law myself, so I ain't mad at you for shouting out. You know what I mean? So, it's not the bad in-law, it's a good in-law. Sweetie, who do you want to give a shout out to? Mr. Belcher is out there on the grind somewhere, and I'm sure he must be doing a show or something or rolling something around. I know about him and his gifts. So what shout out would you like to give, sweetheart?
Just our families. Our families really stuck by us and during that time and in that space. And, it's just great to have that support system. So just want to shout out the family. And my in-laws are like the best. When they came, they made themselves at home. We were not letting them stay in no hotel. You're going to stay here with us and we're going to make this thing work. And that's just what it was. So just shouting out the family. And, this year we were really, really looking forward to the kidney walk because that's something we do as a family each year, because in previous years, Terrence either couldn't walk the kidney walk because he would be in so much pain, or he would walk and he couldn't get to the finish line because he would be so sick. And this year we really was looking forward to him crossing that finish line for the kidney walk. So
next year. I will definitely.
They're supposed to be doing something virtual or something like that. Yeah. So I guess whichever way we can do it, better be safe than sorry. At least you was ready. Stay ready because you active anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? But a million blessings, love, and happiness. I'm so glad y'all got on, and I'm glad y'all was able to tell your story. I know it blessed everybody out there. It's still blessing me. I'm still into it. You know what I mean? So thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate you. Keep doing what y'all doing. Keep staying a family. A million blessings. And have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you. Well, guys, you have heard it. All right. Did I tell you it was going to be excellent, fantabulous, and wonderful? Well, it was. And I'm glad you stayed around for it. See you again next week. Bless your life, and thank you, and good night. Mwah. Love. Excellent relationship.
Oh, I've been walking beneath streetlights. I've been walking, cause I can't find peace on these nights. I've been walking, but my strides are getting slower. Still I'm walking, but I don't know where I'm going. I've been looking for love, but only found deception. Told my secrets to some people who have not kept them. Y'all ready for this? Yeah.
This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 and the kidney one. My girl, and say, this is